Hi, my name is Jono. I've been drawing for the last 15 years. I've got some tips that I'd love to share with you guys. Also, this video is sponsored by Squarespace, but I'll tell you more about them later. One of the steps in the drawing process that I absolutely love is the mapping phase. This is using the grid method after you've done an outline, you show that your proportions and anatomy are correct. And now you're going to start trying to tease out the larger forms and shapes in your drawing. We're going to be going into some of the outlined areas. So if you're drawing an eye, for example, you're going to be enhancing some of those moments. So the crease in the eyelid, finding out where this nice, beautiful shadow, and marking out areas to help you to slowly start building up the forms underneath. What the stage is meant to do is to help you work relatively quickly, but a common mistake in this stage is that people work too quickly. They view this as a very rough technique, trying to lay down some light graphite, see where things lie, erase it if it isn't looking correct, but generally working quite loosely. And to a degree, yes, you should be working a little bit loosely in this stage, but you should also be working accurately. And that's often a big mistake that I see people make. You're trying to hold a balance here. You're trying to work lightly, you're trying to work a little bit loosely, but you're also trying to be as accurate as you can. This is also where we're going to feel some of our first moments of victory. And so you're going to get that little dopamine hit when you see some of those shapes taking form. And it's crucial to really savor these moments. The reason we're working so lightly is because mistakes are inevitable. It's almost like you are assigned, let's say, 50 or 100 mistakes per drawing. You want to make those mistakes in this light phase where it's easy to undo them and you can be grateful that you caught them here rather than later on in the drawing. As we're busy mapping out our drawing, we're also going to be going over the grid lines that have been helping us during this time. And so I like to view part of this mapping stage as creating landmarks on the drawing. These landmarks are going to become our new guides as we leave the grid behind. If you feel scared about letting the grid go, it's important here to trust your ability. Trust that you're practicing, you're going to make mistakes, you're going to erase it, and you're going to make it look better. So don't be afraid to move over your grid lines and create these landmarks. A landmark can be a small detail that you might be filling in later. It could be a mole or a small shadow, anything that can survive blending over your mapping stage. These can also be little highlights, so areas that you maintain and try and keep really clean. Which also brings us on to the next thing, which is keeping your lines clean. So during the mapping stage, you want to try and keep the areas that you map as clean as possible. You want to keep the boundaries between the mapped areas crisp. What I mean by this is if there's two separate tones transitioning from either shadow to midtone or from midtone to highlight, you don't need to worry about blending that right now. Rather find a middle ground between them and keep that middle ground crisp and clean. Especially keep it clean if you're moving from midtone to highlight. This is just a really important practice in looking after your highlights. You're also looking after the fibers in your paper. You don't want to disturb them too much and muddy up your paper. Once we've got a beautifully mapped out drawing, we've had a couple of victories, you're starting to see how this drawing might eventually look. And we've also got our important landmarks so that when we do start rendering, we know where some of those finer details are going to lie. So creases, pores, small hairs, fingerprints, those kinds of things. And next we're going to move into the phase of layering quite a lot of graphite down, getting beautiful, rich tones, working with erasers to try and bring out those highlights, make those shadows really dark, and make those highlights pop to try and bring out the form of the drawing in a beautiful way. This mapping stage is so incredibly important. It's so much more important than those details that give us that instant gratification. So take your time here. Get really familiar with this stage. There's a lot of incredibly rewarding moments to discover in this stage of the drawing. It's not as flashy and exciting as the detailed phase, but it's soft and sensitive and essentially holds the foundation of your drawing. It's really important to discover how valuable this phase is. I mentioned this in the Ode to Graphite video, where I talk about graphite having a memory, and it's partly the graphite and also partly the paper itself. The way that we do this mapping phase, the intensity at which we apply graphite are almost shepherded into a certain form, really impact that finished product. So if we're very haphazard and very gestural with the mapping phase, with the line phase, that will come through and it can be incredibly beautiful and stylistic. But viewing this mapping phase as extremely sensitive and important and taking care in the hatching, making sure you're protecting the integrity of the paper below has an uncanny way of showing its history later on in the drawing. You're going to have to take my word for it or explore this, but try mapping out a section where it is very gestural, and then try mapping out a section using just cross-hatching. Then whatever techniques you apply, so if you're using cotton wool or brushes or blending stumps to blend over that pencil work, notice the difference with how you treated that initial mapping phase and with your outcome. I'm very curious to hear what you guys think, so let me know in the comments. What I've experienced in this is drastic, and I think you might be surprised to see just how sensitive your paper can be. I'm hoping that this leaves you with a sense of excitement for this phase of the drawing. Often it's something that we really kind of rush to get through and want to get to the detail part as soon as possible, but knowing the importance, knowing the impact, knowing how much the marks that we make in this phase of the drawing dictate how things are going to look way down the line means that the stage deserves a lot of attention and a lot of care. So yeah, I hope this helps maybe push through some of the barriers that might be keeping you back. I hope you found this video helpful. Remember to leave a like if you did, it helps the channel out in a huge way. Before I end this video, I just want to give a quick shout out to this video sponsor, Squarespace. I've been working with them for a couple of years now, and they've played a huge role in my career, not only in sponsoring these videos and helping me maintain this channel, but early on in my career, I was looking for a way to showcase my work, and I didn't have time to try and learn HTML and to build a fully functional working website. It didn't go down or have any broken areas. It's a little bit harder than it seems. And I was looking for a way to showcase my work, make it easy for collectors to find me and get in touch with me. And I found that Squarespace did that effortlessly. I never had to patch or upgrade anything. I could register a domain with them and set up an online store. And most importantly, I could design a portfolio and show my work the way that I wanted to. Also, every time I got stuck, their amazing support team helped me out instantly. So if you're looking at building a website, give Squarespace a try. And if you decide that you love them, use the offer code and get 10% off your first purchase. I'm really excited to try and dive in and share some smaller moments that make up the entire drawing process. So let me know if you found this video helpful. I'm quite keen to make a follow-on video, so subscribe if you haven't already to see when that one comes out. Thanks for the support, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.